Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to the ASMR channel. So actually, last night I recorded 38 minutes of me reading more of the book, Spooksville. I think I read about 20 or so, a little more than 20 pages, and it took like 30 minutes, weirdly, and I don't know why that is, but I'm a little bit tired today. The TV is playing in the background because my family is watching TV right now. Hopefully they're silent. Yeah, and so when I uploaded that yesterday, I heard an echo, and I just had to get rid of the entire video. So I will be doing that, basically, redoing it. But that's okay. So again, there's Spooksville. Should I grab a thumbnail? There you go. And I really like the art to this, by the way. Didn't know if you knew, but this is from an artist, I believe in Sydney, Australia, who illustrates many, many books. You can't really see the color because of the quality of the webcam, but I do love the colors. This actually is like a purple and blue, and it's just awesome. All of her covers are awesome. And I think her name is, it's too little to see there, but Vivian Toe, or Two. I'm not really quite sure how to pronounce it. V-I-V-V. Let me make sure I spell this right. V-I-V-I-E-N-N-E space T-O. So I'm guessing Vivian Two or Toe. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. But awesome illustrator. Unfortunately, even if I were to get through all 12 books magically in whatever decade on this channel, if I decide to do or continue the series, her other books are extremely rare to get. They're very pricey. Her Christopher Pike's, his books are very expensive to get past the book 14, I believe, or 13, because they didn't reprint the 13th book to the 24th book, I believe. So I'm very depressed. I couldn't finish the series, but I do own all 12 books. I believe it's 12. So let's get right to it. Maybe because I read this last night, it'll be a lot easier to read. I was struggling last night for some reason. Sometimes, though, you don't have a context until you read, like, after, like, they calmly said, but you're reading it in a very aggressive way, and you read that, and you start laughing. Yeah, that's kind of what I do. So we are on page 24. Okay, Spooksville, The Secret Path. So, Sally is showing Adam around town, and I believe they're about to go over to Watch's place. Chapter 4. They never got into the arcade. Instead, they ran into Sally's friend, Watch. He was an interesting-looking fellow, about Sally's height, with blonde hair the color of the sun and arms that seemed to reach the ground. His ears were big. Adam saw in an instant where he got his nickname. On each arm he wore 2 large watches, 4 that Adam could see. Maybe he had a couple in his pockets that Adam didn't know about. The lenses on his glasses were thick. They could have been swiped from the ends of telescopes. Sally seemed happy to see him. She introduced Adam. Adam's from Kansas City, she said to Watch. He just got here and is finding the change of scenery painful. Adam frowned. It's not that bad. What are your favorite subjects in school? Watch asked. Watch is a science nut, Sally said. If you like science, Watch will like you. Me? I don't care if you flunked biology. My love is unconditional. I like science, Adam said. He gestured to Watch's arms. Why do you wear so many watches? Isn't one enough? I always like to know what time it is in each part of the country, Watch said. There are 4 time zones in America, Sally said. I know that, Adam said. Kansas City is 2 time zones ahead of the West Coast. But why do you want to know what time it is in all these places? Watch lowered his head. Because my mother lives in New York, my sister lives in Chicago, and my father lives in Denver. Watch shrugged. I like to know what time it is for each of them. There was sadness in Watch's voice as he spoke of his family. Adam felt he shouldn't ask why everyone was so spread out. Sally must have felt the same way. She spoke up again. I was just telling Adam how dangerous this town is, she said. I don't think he believes me. Did you really see Leslie Locke get swallowed by a cloud? Adam asked Watch. Watch looked at Sally. What did you tell him? Sally was defensive. Just what you told me. Watch scratched his head. His blonde hair was kind of thin. I saw Leslie get lost in the fog, and then none of us could find her. But she might have run away from home. The fog, a cloud. What's the difference? Sally said. The sky ate her. It's as simple as that. Hey, Watch. What are you doing today? Do you want to go to the arcade with us? Watch brightened. I'm going to see Bum. He's going to show me the secret path. Sally shuddered. You're not taking the secret path. You'll die. Really? Watch said. What's the secret path? Adam asked. Don't tell him, Sally said. He just got here. I like him, and I don't want him to die. I don't think we'll die, Watch said, but we might disappear. Adam was interested. He'd never disappeared before. How? He asked. Watch turned to Sally. Tell him about it, he said. Sally shook her head. It's too dangerous, and I'm responsible for him. Who made you responsible? Adam asked, getting annoyed. I'm my own person. You can't tell me what to do. He turned to Watch. Tell me about the path, and tell me who Bum is. Bum is the town bum, Sally interrupted. He used to be the mayor until Ann Templeton, town witch, put a curse on him. Is that true? Adam asked Watch. Bum was the mayor, Watch agreed, but I don't know if he became a bum because he got cursed. It may have been because he got lazy. He was always a lousy mayor. What exactly is the secret path? Adam asked again. We don't know, Sally said. It's a secret. Tell me what you do know, Adam said, getting exasperated. There's supposed to be a special path that winds through town that leads into other dimensions, Watch said. I've searched for it for years, but never found it. But Bum is supposed to know it. Who says? Adam asked. Bum says, Watch said. Why is he going to tell you the secret? Sally asked. Why today? Watch was thoughtful. I don't know. I gave him a sandwich last week. Maybe he just wants to thank me for it. Maybe he wants to get you killed, Sally grumbled. It wasn't that bad a sandwich, Watch said. When you say the path leads into other dimensions, Adam said, what do you mean? There's more than one Spooksville, Sally said. Huh? Adam said. This town overlaps with other realities, Watch explained. Sometimes those other realities blur into this one. That's why this is such a weird place to live, Sally added. Adam shook his head. Do you have any proof that this stuff exists? No direct proof, Watch said, but a man on the block was supposed to have known about the secret path. What did he say about it? Adam asked. He disappeared before I could ask him. Watch paused to check one of his watches. Bum was waiting for me. If you want to come, you have to decide now. Don't go, Adam, Sally pleaded. You're young. You have your whole future in front of you. Adam laughed at her concern. He was interested in the secret path, but he couldn't say he believed it really existed. I have a long, boring day in front of me. I want to see what this is about. He nodded to Watch. Let's go find this bum. Chapter 5. Sally ended up going with them, complaining all the time about how they could get stuck in a black hole and squashed down to the size of ants. Adam and Watch ignored her. They found Bum sitting by the pier on a concrete wall, feeding the birds from a pile of nearby seed. On the way to the water, Watch had stopped and bought a turkey sandwich at the deli as a gift. Bum accepted it hungrily and didn't even pause to look at them until he'd finished eating. Bum was dirty, with a long scraggly gray coat that looked as if it had been dug up out of a garbage can. His face was unshaven, his cheeks stained with grease and dirt. His hair was the color of used motor oil. He could have been 60, but maybe cleaned up, he would have looked closer to 40. Although he was thin, his eyes were exceptionally bright and alert. He didn't look drunk, just hungry. Finished eating, he regarded them closely, searching Adam up and down. "You're the new kid in town," he said finally. "I heard about you." "Really?" Adam said. "Who told you about me?" "I don't reveal my sources," Bum replied, throwing the final crumbs from his sandwich to the birds that flocked around him as if he were Father Bird. Bum continued, "Your name's Adam, and you're from Kansas City." "That's right, sir," Adam said. Bum grinned wolfishly. "No one calls me sir anymore, kid. And to tell you the truth, I don't care. I'm Bum. That's my new name. Call me that." "Did you really used to be a mayor?" Adam asked. Bum stared out to sea. "Yes, but that was long ago, when I was young and I cared about being a big shot." He shook his head and added, "I was a lousy mayor." "I told him that," Watch said. Bum chuckled. "I'm sure you did. Now Watch, what do you want? The secret to the secret path? How do I know you're qualified to learn it?" "What qualifications are necessary?" Watch asked. Bum asked them to lean in closer. He spoke in a confidential tone. "You have to be fearless. If you walk the secret path and find the other towns, then fear is the one thing that can get you killed. But if you keep your head, think fast, you can survive the road. It's the only way." Adam had to draw in a breath. "Have you taken the secret path?" he asked. Bum laughed softly, mainly to himself. "Many times, kid. I've taken it left, and I've taken it right. I've even taken it straight up, if you know what I mean." "I don't," Adam said honestly. "The secret path doesn't always lead to the same place," Bump said. "It all depends on you. If you're a little scared, you end up in a place that's a little scary. If you're terrified, the path is like a road to terror." "Cool," Watch said. "Cool," Sally said sarcastically. "Who wants to be terrified? Come on, Adam, let's get out of here. Neither of us is qualified. We're both cowards." "Speak for yourself," Adam said, getting more interested. Bum had a powerful way of speaking. It was hard to doubt his words. "Can the path lead to a wonderful place?" Adam asked. "Oh, yes," Bum said. "But those are the hardest to reach. Only the best people get to them. Most just get stuck in Twilight Zone realms and are never heard from again." "That wouldn't bother me," Watch said. "I love that old show, The Twilight Zone. Please, tell us the way." Bum studied each of them, and even though the smile left his mouth, it remained in his eyes. Adam liked him, but wasn't sure if he was a good man. The words of Ann Templeton, the supposed witch, came back to haunt him. There are few grown-ups who know its real name. You'll meet another one today. He'll tell you things you might not want to listen to, but that will be up to you. I give you this warning because you have done me a favor this day. If I tell you the way, Bum said, you have to promise not to tell anyone else. Wait a second, Sally exclaimed. I never said I wanted to know the secret. She put her hands over her ears. This town is bad enough. I don't want to fall into a worse one. Bum chuckled. I know you, Sally. You're more curious than the other two. I watched you this past year. You go out looking for the secret path all the time. Sally pulled down her hands. Never. I've seen you searching for it, Watch said. Only to block it up so that no one else could find it, she said quickly. The secret path cannot be blocked up, Bum said. And now he sounded serious. It's ancient. It existed before this town was built, and it will continue to exist after this town has turned to dust. No one walks it and remains the same. If you choose to take it, you must know there is no going back. The path is dangerous. But if your heart remains strong, the rewards can be great. Could we find some treasure? Adam asked, getting more excited. Bum stared him right in the eye. You might find wealth beyond your imagination, Bum said. Sally brightened. I could use a few bucks. Bum threw his hand back and laughed. You three are a team. I see that already. All right, I'll tell you the secret. After you promise to keep it secret. We promise, they said together. Good. Bum asked them to come close again, and he lowered his voice to a whisper. Follow the life of a witch. Follow her all the way to her death. And remember, when they brought her to the grave, they carried her upside down. They buried her face down, as they do all witches. All those they are afraid to burn. Adam was confused. What does that mean? He asked. Bum would tell them no more. He shook his head and returned to feeding the birds. It's a riddle, he said. You figure it out. Chapter 6. Coffee break. Chapter 6. Well, that's just great, Sally said a few minutes later as they walked back up the hill in the direction of Adam's house. He gets us all excited about hearing the big secret, and then he just tells us a stupid riddle. You were excited? Adam asked. I thought you didn't want to find the secret path. I'm human, Sally said. I can change my mind. She glanced over at Watch, who had been silent since Bum sent them on their way. Aren't you disappointed? Not yet, Watch said. Sally stopped him. You're not trying to figure out the riddle, are you? Watch shrugged. Of course. But it's meaningless, Sally said. How can we follow the life of a witch who founded this town? She's been dead almost 200 years. And what does it mean anyway? A life isn't a line on the ground. You can't follow it as you would a path. That part of the riddle was easy, Watch said. He glanced at Adam. Have you figured it out? Adam had been struggling with the riddle since Bum had told them, but he had been hesitant to say anything because he feared he might make a fool of himself. Watch was obviously the most intelligent one in the group. He spoke quietly as he answered Watch's question. I was thinking to follow her life, meant to follow where she went during her life, Adam said. That's ridiculous, Sally said. It's probably true, Watch said. It's the only explanation. What puzzles me is what's so special about each place she went. Maybe the places aren't so important as the order they're in, Adam said. Maybe the secret path is right in front of us, like the numbers of a combination lock. But you have to turn the numbers in the exact right way, and only then will the lock open. Sally stared at them, dumbfounded. I can't believe you guys. You both think you're Sherlock Holmes. Bum's just taking you for a ride. He only wants you to bring him another sandwich, and then he'll tell you another stupid riddle. He'll keep you going until you fed him all the entire summer. Watch ignored her. I think you're right, Adam, he said, impressed. The path must be right in front of us. It's the sequence that's important. Where you go first, second, third. Let's try to figure out the first place. Where was Madeline Templeton born? I don't know, Adam said. I never heard of the woman until this morning. Watch turned to Sally. Do you know where she was born? Sally continued to pout. I think this is stupid. She paused. At the beach. How do you know? Watch asked, surprised. There's the old story about how Madeline Templeton was brought to Earth by a flock of seagulls on a dark and stormy night, Sally explained. In fact, she was supposed to have come out of the sky exactly where we just were with Bum. Sally made a face. If you can believe that. You believe everything else, Adam said. I draw the line at supernatural births, Sally replied. This story may have a germ of truth in it, Watch said. As long as the location of her birth is correct, it doesn't matter if birds or her mother brought her into the world. And if the location is accurate, we don't have to search for the first place on this secret path. We've already been there. He thought for a moment. It makes sense to me. Bum insisted on telling me that riddle at the exact spot. Maybe he knew we would have trouble finding the first location. Where did she go next? Adam asked. How can we know? We may not have to know every detail of what she did, Watch said. We can follow the general direction of her life. There are so many stories about Madeline Templeton that this won't be as hard as it sounds. For example, I know that when she was 5, she was supposed to have wandered into the derby tree and made all the leaves turn red. How could a kid get inside a tree? Adam asked. She was no ordinary kid, Sally explained. And it's no ordinary tree. It's still alive up on Derby Street, an old oak with branches hanging like clawed hands. Its leaves are always red, year-round. They look like they were dipped in blood. And there's a large hole in it. You can actually slide inside and sit down, one person at a time. But if you do, your brains get scrambled. I've been in it, Watch said. My brain didn't get scrambled. Are you sure? Sally asked. After that, what did she do? Adam asked. Watch started walking back up the hill. Let's talk about that on the way to the tree. I think I have an idea. Okay, chapter 7. My coffee's getting cold. The tree was as weird as Sally had described. Standing alone in the center of a vacant lot, it looked as if it had witnessed many bloody battles and been splattered in the process. The branches hung low to the ground, ready to swoop up any kid who ran by. Adam spotted the large hole in the side. It looked like a hungry maw. The edges were rough, sharp teeth, waiting to bite down and come together. I know a kid who went in there and came out speaking in tongues, Sally said. Snake tongues. It's just a tree that's been cursed, Watch said. I'll go in first to show you there's no danger. How can we believe you when you come out? Sally asked. You might not even be human. Oh, brother, Adam said. Although he was glad Watch was going first, there was something pretty scary about a tree with blood-red leaves at the beginning of summer. Together, Sally and Adam watched as Watch walked over to the tree and climbed inside the hole. A minute went by and Watch didn't reappear. What's taking him so long? Adam wondered aloud. The tree is probably digesting him, Sally said. How did it get the name the Derby tree? Adam asked. Old Man Derby tried to chop it down once, Sally explained. I was only 5 years old at the time, but I remembered the day. He blamed the tree for the disappearance of one of his kids. He had like 10 of them, so he could stand to lose one. Anyway, he came here one morning with a huge axe and took a swing at the tree. He missed and accidentally cut off one of his legs. You'll see Derby walking around town on a wooden leg. All the kids call him Mr. Stilts. He'd be the first to tell you the tree is evil. I just wish Watch would get back here, Adam said. He cupped his hands around his mouth and called out, Watch? Watch didn't answer. Another 5 minutes went by. Adam was on the verge of running for help when their friend finally poked his head out. He squeezed through the hole with difficulty. It was as if the opening had shrunk since he'd been inside. He walked over to them like nothing had happened. Why were you inside so long? Sally demanded. What are you talking about? Watch asked, checking one of his many watches. I just went inside for a second. You were in there at least an hour, Sally said. It was closer to 10 minutes, Adam corrected. Watch scratched his thinning blonde hair. That's weird. It didn't feel that long. Didn't you hear us calling for you? Sally asked. No, Watch said. Inside the tree, you can't hear a thing. He paused. Who wants to go next? I will, Adam said, anxious to get it over. Wait a second, Sally said to Watch. How do we know you haven't been altered in some way? I'm fine, Watch said. You wouldn't know if you're fine if you've been changed, Sally said. You'd be the last person to know. Let me ask you a couple of questions just to be sure your brain hasn't been operated on. Who's the most beautiful girl in Spooksville? You are, Watch said. And who's the best poet in Spooksville? Sally asked. You are, Watch said. You write poetry? Adam asked her. Yes, and they're awful poems, Sally said. I think he's been altered. If I have, it happened a long time ago, Watch said. Give it a try, Adam. I want to move on to the next spot. All right, Adam said, feeling far from excited about the prospect. He walked slowly toward the tree, as he did, a breeze stirred the red leaves, making it look as if they were excited about his coming close. Adam's heart thumped in his chest. Obviously, time moved at a different pace inside the tree. Maybe when he emerged, Sally and Watch would be old, like his parents. Maybe he wouldn't get out, but become a part of the tree, a sad face cut into its thick bark. The hole definitely seemed smaller than it had 10 minutes earlier, maybe half the size it had been. Adam realized he had to get in and out quickly. Still, he hesitated. A strange odor spilled out from the interior of the tree. It could have been the smell of blood. Plus, as he stood under the tree, he couldn't help noticing how far away his friends appeared to be. They were where he'd left them, but they could have been a mile away. He waved to them, and it was several seconds before they waved back. Weird. I have to do it, Adam whispered to himself. If I don't, Sally will know I'm a coward. Summoning his courage, Adam ducked his head and swam through the hole into the tree. He was able to get his whole body inside and turn around, although he had to keep his head down. Standing hunched over, he peered through the hole and was surprised to see that everything outside had lost its color. It was as if he were looking at a black and white film. Also, as Watch had said, The interior of the tree was completely silent. All Adam could hear was his panting and the pounding of his heart. It seemed to him that the tree was also listening to his heart, wondering how much blood it pumped a day, how much blood the reckless boy had to feed its hungry branches. "I gotta get out of here," Adam said to himself. He tried to squeeze back out. Now there was no doubt. The entrance had shrunk. Adam got halfway through and then felt his midsection catch. Sucking in a strangled breath, he tried to let out a scream, but failed. The bark had him in a vice-like grip, and the way it was closing on him, he would be cut in half. "Help!" he managed to get out. Sally and Watch were at his side in a moment. Watch yanked at his arms, Sally pulled at his hair, but he stayed stuck. The pain in his sides was incredible. He felt like his guts were about to explode. "Oh," he moaned. Sally was near hysterics as she pulled his hair out by the roots. "Do something, Watch," she screamed. "It's eating his legs." "It's not eating my legs," Adam complained. "It's breaking me into two." "A dying man shouldn't quibble," Sally said. "Watch." "I know what to do," Watch said, letting go of Adam's arms. He ran over to a drooping branch and pulled out a big lighter. As Adam was struggled to draw in a breath, Watch flicked the bick and held a flame under a particularly big and ugly branch. The tree reacted as if it had been stung. The branch snapped back, the leaves almost slapping Watch. At that exact moment, Adam felt the grip on him lessen. "Pull me now," he shouted to the others. Watch returned to Adam's side, and with Sally's help, yanked Adam free. Adam landed face first on the rough ground and scratched his cheeks, but the slight injury was overshadowed by his immense relief. He drew in a deep, shuddering breath and tried to crawl farther away from the tree. Sally and Watch helped him to his feet. Behind them, Adam noticed that the hole had all but vanished. "You can see why Old Man Derby wanted to chop it down," Sally panted. "Yeah," Adam gasped, gently probing his sides for broken ribs. He seemed to be in one piece, although he knew he'd be sore the next day, if he lived that long. Suddenly, he had lost all enthusiasm for finding the rest of the secret path. "There's no way you're going in there," he told Sally. "I don't know if climbing inside the tree is a requirement," Watch said. "It's probably good enough that we came here." "Now you tell me," Adam said. "Let's quit while we're ahead," Sally said. "This path is too dangerous." "Let's go a little farther," Watch said. "I know what's next. It can't be that dangerous." He paused to look back at the tree. "I hope." Alright, we are chapter 8, page 49. It was the same exact place I left off last night, but like I said again, that was unusable with the audio. So, praying this is actually working, so I don't have to do this a third time, but I'm really set on finishing this book. I don't like starting things unless I finish them, at least half the time, maybe most of the time. But yeah, and I'm also sorry for all the light that's coming in the room. I know that you guys are, I don't know if you're really watching this. I would think you're more so listening to it. There's nothing much to watch besides a homeless looking man. But I'm sorry for all the light coming in the room. Really nothing I can do about that. I only have those white things to put down. And with all the snow that we had and all the sun coming through, it's reflecting off the snow and it's causing this heaven-like feel to it. But thank you guys so much for listening, watching. Sorry for if you heard anything out on the TV, or my parents are still sick, so they're coughing, sneezing, whatever. And yeah, I don't know if I mentioned my room already, but my room is pretty messy. So I'm gonna go get my coffee refilled with some hot coffee because this has turned really cold. I only like hot coffee. Sometimes at Starbucks they give me really like lukewarm coffee, and I can't stand that. Ugh. I have to come home and microwave it. Anyway, let me do a bonus. I'm gonna do a quick bonus. Perhaps a teaser for, I don't know if I'm ever gonna do this, but as much as like Spooksville, this book right here, which I have right next to me, this book, which I don't know how many pages this is, this book is just my first book. It's my first book I've read that has more than 50 pages, and just like, it's nostalgic. It's called the Code Bear series, and one of my main email is like Code Bear or something, and it's this book was my first book. I know I'm repeating myself, and it inspired me to create and write my own book for the last like 14 years. I think I finished like one version of it, and then I decided I just didn't like it, and I kept rewriting it. And currently I'm actually writing, which I thought to write again, and I thought to make this ASMR series again with the Spooksville, because reading inspires me to write. It gives me ideas, and but yeah, this is great. I can read the back to you. So, for context, I actually would have never ever found this. I mean, there is a if this like 5% chance I would have ever found this without my friend. My friend actually he went to a Christian bookstore and he found this. And yes, there's a lot of Christian themes in this. The funny thing actually though is when I first got this, I was really funny back then, and now I guess, with like when I see stuff like this, even though I know it's fictional. Back then, I don't want to get too much into it, but I was a Protestant. Now I'm a Catholic. Back then I was a Protestant. And Protestants, I don't want to sum every Protestant up in this, but there was a certain church, a part of being a Protestant, I don't really know how to word it. It's like a branch that when they saw stuff like this, they automatically assumed it to be witchcraft. They didn't want us to watch Harry Potter and some other stuff. But anyway, all that aside, it's fictional and it has a lot of Christian themes. So at first, when I first got the book and I saw the page, I'm like, ooh, I don't want to read anything, like satanic. And I think my mom read it too, and she's like, no, this is actually a lot of Christian themes in it. And I just wasn't getting it because I was like in 7th grade, 6th, 7th grade maybe. And yeah, I'll read it back to you. So it's called Hunter Brown and the Secret of the Shadow, written by the Miller brothers. I actually sent them a letter once, and they responded to me on Facebook, which is cool. So it says here, strange visions, hideous monsters, startling revelations. Hunter Brown never expected a summer like this, and it's only getting started. After one of his infamous pranks backfires, Hunter unexpectedly finds himself in possession of an ancient book and key. Little does he know the mysterious book is the gateway to Salandria, a supernatural realm held captive by the shadow. In Salandria, Hunter joined forces with the Code Bearers, a band of highly trained warriors who form the resistance to the shadow. But before he can complete his training in the ways of the Code of Life, Hunter is sent on a mission far more dangerous than he had ever bargained for. Now with his life in peril and the future of Salandria hanging in the balance, Hunter is headed for a showdown with the shadow and a battle to save his soul from a fate worse than death. Is Hunter's knowledge of the code deep enough to uncover the secret of the shadow, or will the truth be more than he can bear? So yeah, that was like a little summary. Honestly, it's been such a long time since I read this. I probably couldn't give a good explanation of what it's about. Maybe, and I mean maybe, because it's such a long book. It's compared to Spooksville, it's like reading 3 Spooksville books. Maybe I'll read it in the future, but that's a maybe. There's 3 of these altogether, and they're not very popular, but it's so nostalgic to me. It could be whatever. I mean, I absolutely just, I'm a fan. Not saying, by the way, it's the greatest book out there. I'm not saying it's the perfect writing. I'm not saying it's the perfect story. I'm simply saying it's my first book, and it brings back a lot of memories, and I love it. And of course, I would love to share it with anyone, because it's just, I don't know, it's nostalgic, I guess. Okay, well, I smell something on fire, so I'm gonna get off now, but I think I'm okay. I think my smell is kind of off. It's like a mixture of tortilla chips and, oh, it's burnt popcorn. Never mind, it's burnt popcorn. I smell the popcorn someone microwaved. Okay, everyone, goodbye. Thank you so much for watching.